My name is Leanne Massey, and I am a graduate student at Texas Women's University. I'm working on a course called Youth Programs in the fall 2017, and one of our projects we had to do is called a story in a box. And we had to choose a grade level and we had to choose a theme. For mine, I chose first grade, and I chose the theme of friendship because it's the beginning of school and we're teaching kids social skills and how to get along with each other and how to make friends and those types of things. So that's one of the things I wanted to work on in my own library as a librarian. So I chose to build my box around that theme. And I'm going to be explaining each item that's in here and why I put it in there and how it can be used. Okay? So, without further ado, I'm going to open it. Okay. The first part is explaining all the materials in the box. So, if anyone were to use it, primarily would be me because I'm in a school library. But if anyone needed to borrow it, like my first grade teachers, or, you know, if I knew any librarians in the district that could use it, they could borrow it. So they would get a list of everything that's included in here. And then the other thing that I've done is put a list of materials that would be needed for some of the activities if they were to do them, or if I were to do them. I would know what I need. And in the back, this is a list of some guidelines and how this can be used for a friendship unit. And it has all the authors and illustrators, and there's even a works cited page in the back. So I would put that together, and that would be included. It's kind of like an inventory sheet. Okay. The other thing I have, this is probably familiar. This is Piggy, and this is Elephant. Okay. And I've included, for my first part, I've included The Adventures of Beagle, the Unimaginary Friend. I thought that would be the best way to open this topic in a library. And in this folder is included a template of a child so that children can draw their best friend. Could be in their class, could be in their school, could be anywhere, maybe in their neighborhood. And I really like going and choosing off the internet things that are already pre-made for the story, because there's a lot of great ideas in here, and even if you don't use the ideas, you can really tailor it to your needs. So in this kit, it's called the Unimaginary Party Kit. They actually have some suggestions of, you know, how you can discuss the story with students, and there are some, you know, ideas for parties. You can pretend that you're, you know, going to have a party with unimaginary friends, and you have to make up their name and give them name tags. So that's pretty unique, I thought. And there's a page too where they can draw a picture of what their imaginary friend would look like if they chose one. There's also a matching, so they have to match the child to their imaginary friend, and they have some common element that is in common, so they have to look at details very carefully there. And then there is a maze that you try to help Beagle find his friend. And then the last thing children can do, and you can print this on cardstock, but it is actually a crown. It's Beagle's crown. So you can print that and have children create it, and they'll have their own Beagle crown. So those are some activities I did with this story. And then we have the actual story. And I would read it, and I would talk to children beforehand. You know, have you ever imagined that you had a friend? Or have you ever been playing by yourself and imagining? What kinds of things do you come up with? And just have those discussions with them, and then read them this story about, you know, this lonely, unimaginary friend who finally finds his match and he has a friend. And it just kind of opens up into those discussion questions about friends and what makes a good friend. The next part that I did is called Denitra Brown Leaves Town. I really like Nikki Grimes' work, and she's also won awards. For this one, it's about two little girls. One goes away for the summer, and the other girl is a little upset about it. And she soon starts to realize, though, that, you know, hey, there's these other kids in my neighborhood. There's a lot of fun that I can have here. And so what I thought kids could do after that story is write a letter. And I printed a template. Since it's first grade, you know, the first box says what we've been up to, you know, so you can tell your friend what you've been up to. It says what I love best about summer, so they can write about what they liked about summer. My favorite memory with you, so they can write about a favorite memory with their friend. And a drawing of you and me. And then at the bottom it has that love, and then they can put their name. So it starts them on that letter writing skill that we want children to learn. So I put that in this one. And I also included a friendship bracelet pack. So there's beads with letters and some hearts, and there's strings. So if they wanted to, they could create a friendship bracelet for their friend. And this would probably have to be restocked depending on how low it gets, but these materials were purchased at Walmart. And then here is the book, and you know, I really like the illustrations, especially the one on the back. If you can see it, where she's just imagining that she's taking in the night sky like a coat. I really love the way that Nikki Grimes writes about that. And then the next book that I picked is Kindness is Cooler, Mrs. Ruler. Now, I didn't even show first graders in my library this book, and they flock to it. They really love this book. And it has a great message. It is kind of long, so you might break it up and, you know, have some discussion with children. And in here, there's a lot of great suggestions for that. I printed off another pack that actually is tailored to the book. And it gives you suggestions of what you can talk to them about. Like, you know, why was the class jumpy and grumpy? And it just gets them to think about that and think about their actions. And it also has a writing prompt. There's some writing prompts in there to get kids started on writing. And it even has some ideas about 100 acts of kindness and paying it forward. So there's this company called Ned, and they've actually printed this packet, and they've made all the reproducibles that you can use and print. This one says, color Ned and write a sentence about how you can keep kindness going. So they could write about how they could pay it forward. You know, they give another student a compliment, and then what will that student do, and then so on and so forth. And there's also a 100 timeline or number line. And you could print it and you could put it in your classroom, and every time you catch a kid doing something kind, or even in the library, you can put a marker there or put a sticker there until you reach 100, and then you can tell the kids, oh, hey, look, we've done 100 acts of kindness. And I would even record them just so we could remember, and each day we would read what it was and, you know, keep them refreshed on how each act is a form of kindness, and, you know, get them thinking about what else they could do. And also in the book, one thing that Mrs. Ruler, the teacher, did when she saw that, you know, kids were acting out and, you know, making fun of each other and playing with each other, and they didn't necessarily like it, when she got them started, she had them write acts of kindness on hearts. And so I thought it would be a cool idea to have students, you know, write their acts of kindness on hearts too, and then they could display it. And maybe even you could even do it in a big giant heart-shaped pattern with the little hearts. That would be pretty symbolic. And then here is the book. It's a really neat illustration. It's by Marjorie Kyler. I wanted to say her name right. And it's a pretty good book. And the next one I have is called Each Kindness by Jacqueline Woodson. This is a very powerful book. This gets into, you know, the feelings that we have when we feel left out, or we're leaving somebody out, or we know if we're intentionally doing things that are harmful to others or just not right. And this is one of those stories that really sticks with you for a long time. She's such a great writer. And this is the book. And it really gets you thinking about, you know, empathy. And I think empathy is something that is really good to teach children, especially at a young age. And I also found a pack for the activities for this book too. And there's some really great suggestions in here. Gives you questions that you can ask the class, like, how do you think Maya felt? How did she react to their unkindness? Why do you think the other kids were not very nice to the new girl, Maya? Why did Chloe not drop her stone in the water? So there's a lot of really great discussion questions in there you can ask children as you read and even after you read. And what I really like is there's a ripple demonstration too. You can get a round bowl of water, because a rectangle or a square does not work, by the way. Get a round bowl of water, fill it, and then take a little pebble and drop it in there so that the students can see the ripple and say, you know, every act of kindness begins with yourself first, and then it goes outward to your friends, your family, the students in your class, to the community. So everything that you do has an impact. And there are some printables in here. I like this one. It says, kindness can be paid forward at home, school, and community. How can you pay it forward? It says, record your ideas for paying kindness forward in the 3 columns. List as many ideas as you can. So in this column, it would be family kindness. You know, things like doing your chores, setting the table for dinner, dishes, taking the dog out for a walk, things like that. And in the middle, it would be school kindness. So the things that you do at school that are kind. And then the last one is community. You know, what do you do for the community? And you pick up trash, or, you know, things like that. And then I really like the impact of this one. Just kind of like the hearts with the other story with Mrs. Ruler. These are ripples. And each student can get one, and they can write a kind sentence about someone. And you just keep them going, and you could visually put them up in the library or a classroom so that they could see all the ripples of kindness. Each student going to each student and doing something that's kind. And then the last book that I have, which is a favorite because it's Mo Willems, and he's a really great author. He's really funny. It's Should I Share My Ice Cream? And in here, I've taken and found some songs, and this one is I Am Learning How to Share. So we're sharing with our friends. Should we share? Should we not? And it's to the tune of London Bridge is Falling Down. The other one is called Be a Friend. If it's to the tune If You're Happy and You Know It. This one is Use Your Manners, and, you know, it kind of gets into that whole, you know, what's appropriate, what's not. And I really like, this is just a quote thrown in there, but it says make new friends. It says make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver and the other is gold. So I really liked that. And then the more we get together, that rhyme. And there's even an idea for a variation on Duck Duck Goose where they use a heart. And when they say the rhyme, I think it's on here, when they actually, yes. So what they'll do is they'll say, I am learning how to share, how to share, how to share. I am learning how to share. I'll share my heart with you. So then they give the heart to someone, and then they run around the circle, and it's just like Duck Duck Goose. So I really liked those. And I also made an ice cream template where it has the scoops and it has the waffle cone. And I thought what would be really great is if the students have their friends in the classroom, they could go up to their friend and ask them, you know, what's your favorite ice cream? How do you want me to decorate it? And then they would give it to them after they decorate it. And so it'd be like a communication and, you know, asking their friend what's their favorite. I thought that'd be a good idea. Or if their friend's not in the class, they could just decorate it for their friend and then give it to their friend. They could even put one thing that they like about their friend here and one there. And I also printed Elephant and Picky paper bag puppets. So they could actually make puppets beforehand, and as the story is read, you know, they could move them as the different parts come up that they're talking. Because I know kids are really big into hands-on, and the more hands-on you can tie into literature, the more they're going to remember it. So that's what I did in my kit. I hope you enjoy. This book, again, Should I Share My Ice Cream, is by Mo Willems. Each Kindness is by Jacqueline Woodson. Kindness is Cooler, Mrs. Ruler is by Marjorie Kyler. Denitra Brown Leaves Town is by Nikki Grimes. And The Adventures of Beagle, the Unimaginary Friend, is by Dan Santat. And that's all I have today. Thank you.